Hey everybody, Plushie here, coming at you at the middle of finals week. Now, I wasn't planning on making this video, however, I already bailed on the Melusine review and I did make a stupid meme teasing about a video about this, so I thought I'd make a short one and sort of give you guys something at least and not just, go back on another promise. So today's topic is going to be my opinion regarding Koyanskaya or Oberon. This is a very popular question that is going to pop up for NA players when, this happens next year, or right now for JP, because both of them have a rate up right now. There are two main reasons why I prefer Koyanskaya over Oberon if you're rolling purely for gameplay. And let's get into the first reason. So when I was studying for biochemistry, there are a lot of enzymes that only work when they form a dimer. What does that mean? That means that when you got one of them, they're not too amazing, they're okay. But when you got two of them, they combine and make some amazing chemical reactions. And this is basically what Koyanskaya is because of her first skill. Her first skill is a 50 MP battery that also reduces the target's cooldown by 2. Now, normally, numbers in FGO is pretty linear. For example, buff damage numbers, the more you have, the more damage you do. Simple as that. But sometimes some other numbers in the game are not necessarily about, hitting as high as possible. Sometimes it's just to hit that specific number or threshold. What do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is, for example, people's neuron activate when they see 50 MP battery, because there's a lot of CEs that start with 50 MP battery. So all you need is another 50 for you to be able to use your MP. Also, a lot of meta supports have 50 MP charge skills. So you only have to use one of them and then use your 50 MP battery to fire your MP. This also leads to why sometimes people also neuron activate when they see a 30 MP battery, because with a maxed out Pen 2 skill, it also adds up to 50. For example, Jean Archer has a 40 MP battery, and that is very awkward because it's stuck between 30 and 50. And most of the time, it's going to function like a 30 MP battery anyways. Another good example is servants with over 100 MP batteries, such as Medea or Hephaestion. And a lot of times you don't even want to max them because the maxed out battery is 120. Why would you need the extra 20? So that is what I mean by hitting a critical number instead of just trying to go as high as possible. And for Koyanskaya of Light, this is particularly true because of the cooldown reduction. If you use one Koyanskaya, it's reducing the cooldown by 2. It's not that amazing. Sometimes on a 5-turn cooldown, 3-turn duration skill, it effectively allows you to chain the skill back to back, but that's not too insane. But when you put two Koyanskayas together, it suddenly becomes a little bit crazy. And then when you put Atlas Academy Mystic Code into the mix as well, then you got something truly amazing. It's a 6-turn reduction in cooldown, and most skills have a cooldown of 6 or below. So you can either dump all of them on turn 1 and just use your skills twice in a single turn, or you spread them out across multiple turns and you can use your skills twice within the 3 turns. That is the basic principle of how Buster looping works. And in contrast to Koyanskaya, Oberon's skill is very singular. In fact, you usually don't double Oberon because he essentially only has 2 skills unless you're on the last turn, and it's usually not worth it. Like, sure, double Oberon enables some servants with absolutely horrendous MP rates to loop, but that is usually not really worth it because you got horrible damage in the first 2 turns. And you also have to eat the demerit of his second battery twice. So Oberon, if you borrow him, he's still going to function very similarly. Obviously, if you want to use him in a Buster comp with double Koyanskaya, you have to own both, but that's just how it is. But if you especially want to use him in non-Buster comps, for example, Quick or Arts, sure, double Castoria is strong, but they're not as, the difference between double Castoria and single Castoria is not as big as double Koyanskaya and single Koyanskaya because there's no cooldown reduction involved. So a lot of times you can actually do like Castoria, Shufu, and then you borrow Oberon. And for Quick, you even have 2 Scotties after Summer 7, of course. So you can still double Scotty Oberon even if you don't have Oberon yourself and you have another Scotty. So this is my main rationale of, first main rationale of why I prefer Koyanskaya over Oberon is because having your own and borrowing another significantly boosts her power level, while Oberon, doesn't really benefit from, just having 2 copies. Now, my second rationale involves a very common argument for Oberon, which is he is universal. Koyanskaya is only good in Buster teams, but Oberon is good in any team, so you should roll for Oberon. Well, that is not untrue. Oberon's 3rd skill does have a Buster up, but it still benefits anyone who has a MP damage buff on them, especially if they're equipping Black Grail, and his 70 MP charge is always going to be pretty irreplaceable. However, while Oberon is sort of more flexible in terms of the teams he can go into, he's actually very limiting in another aspect, which is when you can actually use him. Oberon's biggest selling point outside of his 70 MP battery is his 3rd skill. The massive damage boost is why most people want him. But if you have been watching Chainsaw Man, with more power requires more sacrifice. And Koyanskaya's cooldown reduction is pretty cool. It only requires a 1000 drain on your entire team. However, Oberon's 3rd skill, immensely powerful, but it basically kills your DPS on the next turn. This can stem a lot of problems. So you basically only use him for farming, and you use him on the last wave for the extra charge as well as the final damage boost. And if you don't kill, because believe me, it's actually pretty common in 90++ to not kill even with Oberon if you're not bringing an MP5 damage dealer, because their HP is like over 1 million. It's ridiculous for AoEs to try to push through that damage. And when that happens, your entire team falls apart and your 3-turn farming comps becomes a 13-turn farming comp. The second place where you use him is the last turn of a challenge quest. Now, you might see him appear in every challenge quest min turn, but do note that that is min turns, right? Why is it so important? Because Oberon's 3rd skill benefits the most when you already have a crap ton of buffs on you and he essentially doubles your damage. So in a min turn, it's really effective. He can push massive amounts of damage on the last turn. But min turns is actually, believe it or not the most common way that people like to fight challenging quests. So he becomes really awkward. Even if you're doing a pseudo stall or just a normal clear and you put him in the backline as a sort of finisher move, you're usually better off with a Castoria, who can also be a finisher with her MP, but if you somehow not finish the enemy boss, she provides a lot of defense and sort of allows you to live for another couple turns and finish off the boss. Oberon, on the other hand, is basically a self-destruct button. If you don't blow up the enemy with you, you die. Your main DPS just straight up gets killed. Oberon, even though people sell him as this flexible support, he's actually extremely limiting in his usage because of the massive cost you have to pay for using his 3rd skill. And there's also the say of, you can use him to taunt himself, and he can be a 70 MP battery charger with a taunt. And just run that sentence through yourself again and think how valuable that is compared to a meta support that enables a whole new farming system. So yeah, and I know this is a bit messy. I'm a little bit tired. I might sound like I'm out of breath because I think I had too much caffeine, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and this is at least a little bit entertaining. And I'll see you guys after finals week.